Three, two, one. Hello and welcome. YouTube have joined the party. We've been live on Twitch for the last 5 minutes, and by we I mean almost exclusively Paul, because I've been having dinner really quickly, because I only got home like an hour ago. However, today we will be talking about, firstly, some rumors, some news, some Samsung stuff.
Hello
in
and
preparation
welcome. YouTube have
for
joined the party.
in preparation for the event, which kicks off in about half an hour. It's about 23 minutes at this point. So let's get into it. Stubbers, how are you doing?
I am doing okay. I'm actually been quite hyped about the Note 10 coming out, in the hope that it may be my next smartphone. But we shall see. We shall see.
So what are you looking forward to?
I know it's not going to happen, but I really hope they drop the Bixby button. Oh, please drop the Bixby button.
Maybe not even drop the Bixby button, but make it useful. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be great. But I know some of the rumors that have came out. I haven't. Samsung have confirmed. Is it Samsung that have confirmed a couple of things as well?
Samsung have, yeah. They had a couple of those
the teaser
videos. Actually,
yeah.
Sorry, just really quickly. You can see where I wear my watch. I've got this red mark on my wrist that I've only just noticed. Fun fact. But yeah, so they've had a couple of teasers. Apparently, we might be able to expect what's what I'm thinking of? A camera in the S Pen.
Yeah, I still don't believe that.
I don't know. Have you seen their promotional image?
They have teased something that we can only presume is that, because they didn't actually show it exactly, if I remember rightly. And I still don't believe that they would go down that route. But at the same point, it is entirely possible. But we'll see in under an hour's time. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things which sounds really cool in concept for about 30 seconds, and then you go, wait a second, do I actually want this? How frequently would you use? It's already, because you can already use it as a clicker. You can already use it, as that, and that's cool, right? That's great. Don't get me wrong, and that's probably the best use for it, right? You set your camera up somewhere, you run back, and you use it as a clicker for the camera.
Yeah, and one that's built into the phone rather than having to carry around a separate thing.
But they've gone so hard on the camera S Pen duo that I can't help but wonder.
Yeah, I partially do hope it's a thing, but I just can't see it being useful. It's one of those things where it's the second thing you've got to hold. At which point, why aren't you pressing it on your phone? Use because you're still going to have to use your phone for a preview, etc. So it.
Yeah, but there are times where it makes sense in this ish.
I think it's just so rare though. I think any time that it might make sense to use it, it may also be a time when the image quality of a camera that can be fit into a pen is gonna probably suck.
You know what you could do though? You get those periscope shots that Marques Brownlee was doing. With that really funky periscope lens.
Yes.
So with the S Pen, it's roughly that same shape. It's the same periscopy shape, and so you could definitely pull that off with those.
Yeah. I think that shots like that are going to be its would be its strength if that is what they've done. But because I just think with phones getting thinner and thinner, they can't make a bigger S Pen. They can't afford the extra space to make a bigger S Pen, so they're quite limited on how big the sensor can be. And then, of course, they need the battery within the pen to power the sensor.
Sorry,
And
really quickly, on the subject of sensor, you've just reminded me. I'm not sure if you heard the news, but earlier today, Xiaomi announced that they're making this phone, which is all well and good. What's important about it is it has a 108 megapixel sensor on the back. And the sensor is made by Samsung, which is why that matters. What
I know there's been rumors for ages that they will be the first people to get a bigger than the 54 that Sony have on their
64.
best one. 64.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's
a
resolution of 12,032 by 9,024.
Freaking hell! I've just got this. Got it up now. That is ridiculous.
It is intense.
Very ridiculous. Freaking hell. Xiaomi is killing it though, and it's actually got to the point where Samsung is yet another competition for Xiaomi, or yet another competition for Samsung from Xiaomi, which is great.
Should we talk new devices? Because there was supposed to be 3 devices announced today, or I guess 4 technically. There were supposed to be 3 devices announced today.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were moved forward. So they were announced earlier this week, slash last week, just so that we had all the time in the world for the Note 10. Do you want to talk about those?
Yeah, I don't. So the 2 devices, of course, the Tab S6 and the Galaxy. There's Watch Active. Or
Galaxy
is it?
Watch Active
No.
2, yeah.
Yeah. I actually don't know much about the watch. I know bits about the tablet. But if you want to go on about the watch, I can react to what you say as much as I can. But yeah, I couldn't care less about the watch enough to have looked it up before.
So how about you start by talking? Let's talk Tab first, because I think that's the bigger topic per se. So if you start with a Tab, because you actually have the Tab S5e currently.
Yeah, so I'm actually just picking it up, trying to get it out of the case now.
Oh, perfect. Which up until like a week ago was the Samsung tablet to have.
Yeah, unless for some reason you wanted S Pen support specifically, then yeah, it was the tablet to have.
And Dex, I believe. That doesn't have Dex.
This has Dex.
Oh, does it have Dex?
Yeah, so I can, if I want to turn on Dex, I could probably put it on my desktop, but otherwise I can just swipe down the thing. It's terrible white balance at the moment. And then just swipe across and then just press a button and it switches into Dex. If I have it set up properly, I haven't got it done properly yet. But yeah, I love this device. It's so thin, so light. At some point there should be a review coming out from me for this. Yeah, I do like it. Speakers are ridiculous on it. The screen's lovely, and the S6 just looks to be better. And it's improving on an already great device.
Yeah, what's amazing about the S6 is it actually maintains quite a lot of what's great about the S5e. Like, it's only 20 grams heavier, so instead of 400 grams, it's 420 grams. It's only 0.2 millimeters thicker, which is sort of barely anything, and it has the same size battery, the same size display. It has S Pen support, as you mentioned, and it also has 2 rear-facing cameras instead of 1. And on top of all of that, our biggest complaint with the S5e when that first launched, I remember we talked about it, was the RAM SoC combo felt a bit off. Whereas the S6 has 8 gigabytes of RAM and a Snapdragon 855, meaning it is a proper flagship device and it's a proper flagship tablet made by Samsung, which when you get that keyboard edition and the fact it comes with 256 gigabytes of onboard storage means that it's actually a device you can get a lot of work done on.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a powerhouse. With my usage of the S5e, it's been something that multimedia is its biggest thing. The beastly speakers, great screen. It is a great multimedia machine. And with a bit of work on the side, I think if you worked off of it permanently, you probably would eventually find some issues with it. But with the bump up to the 855, the Snapdragon 855, that is more than enough power for what you need. The 670 in the S5e is quite a capable chip. But if you want to do multitasking frequently, using lots of different things, especially if you want to use DeX, I think that's where the extra power will come into its own. The extra 2 gig of RAM that you can get in the top model, whether that will come in useful all the time at the moment, 6 gig of RAM on the S5e has been more than enough. I've never actually seen it go above 4 gig of used RAM.
I guess it's a
think it'd be nice.
multitasking thing, right? Like that's why.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing a lot of multitasking, then it makes sense. And that'd be why.
Give me just a moment.
Just in case anyone's wondering, I guess the resolution on that display is 2560 by 1600, and we have a review that's coming soon, and so you'll see more then. But that display is gorgeous. It's an AMOLED display. It's beautiful. Actually, you know what? Let me give you a sneak preview. How do I do this really quickly? Projects. S5e review. So here is a very quick spec breakdown, courtesy of our own Paul Stubbers. As soon as
not that guy.
Yeah, I know, crazy, isn't it? Hang on a second. If I hit studio mode, make a new source, make a real scene, and go like this, and then properties. Right, so in theory, I should be able to click this and it will play.
Could this tablet be the one for you? First, so let's get the specs out of the way. The Tab S5e has a Snapdragon 670 processor, 2 storage variants, one with 4 gig of RAM. Could this tablet be the one for you? First, so let's get the specs out of the way. The Tab S5e has a Snapdragon 670 processor, 2 storage variants, one with 4 gig of RAM and 64 gig of storage for £379, and the other with 6 gig of RAM.
Okay, let's try this again. If I click this button, you'll be able to hear a spec breakdown by our very own Paul Stubbington.
Could this tablet be the one for you? First, so let's get the specs out of the way. The Tab S5e has a Snapdragon 670 processor, 2 storage variants, one with 4 gig of RAM and 64 gig of storage for £379, and the other with 6 gig of RAM with 128 gig of storage for £439. Both have 4G variants, which is an extra £50, as well as supporting up to a 512 gig microSD card. On the bottom is a USB Type-C port.
So yeah, that's a quick look at the specs of the S5e. It's got a pretty decent, as we described, spec breakdown. It's not perfect, but it's not terrible. I think for light work and for the price point it comes in at, which is $329, it was just in the video. I should have paid more attention to it, to be honest. But at the price it comes in at, it's pretty decent. And then the fact you can get that keyboard on top to get sort of quote unquote real work done is great. So when we talked about it, you mentioned that you've been using, so you have a Surface Book. No, you don't. That's a lie. No, that's not a lie. You have a Surface Book.
Surface Book, yeah.
For some reason, I said Surface Book, and then in my head, I thought Surface Laptop, and I'm like, oh, wait a second. But we've been discussing how you have a Surface Book and you've been using it less and less, partially because of issues with the Surface Book, but also partially because as a multimedia device, the Tab S5e just makes so much more sense.
Yeah, it's for me, it makes a lot more sense. I tend to, especially if I'm cooking or if I'm just downstairs making tea and I want to watch a video, listen to some music while I do that. If I've got a couple of things to do, like not long ago, I was having to do a bit of painting and all that. So it was a hell of a lot easier to have a super light, super thin tablet there, rather than quite thick, comparatively thick laptop, which is also about 5 times as heavy, because I believe that's just over 2 kilos. So yeah, about 5 times as heavy. It's just so much more convenient to carry around, especially I've got quite a thin and light case for it as well. Makes it so easy just to stand up. Speakers being so loud and clear make it quite easy to walk around the kitchen while still hearing what I'm listening to. And also the fact that this Dolby Atmos, it just makes it very immersive to watch anything on it. Anything with surround sound, suddenly I find myself looking behind me thinking, where's that sound coming from? Yeah, no, it's just the tablet's fooled me again. It happens at least a few times a week where I'm laying in bed on the tablet watching something on YouTube and think like, what the hell is that? And yeah, it's just the speakers are that good.
Awesome, thanks for that. It's good to see we have Dare in chat saying, "Guy on right needs a pop filter." That guy being you, Paul.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I gave you a pop filter with, or it wasn't a pop filter; it's technically a wind filter with that microphone. Did I not?
Yeah, it's installed. It's obviously not working that well though.
Yeah, I haven't heard any particular. You know what? I think you might have mistaken. What's that to your left? What's that little like white bottle thing that's behind your hand on your right? Sorry, is that a coffee cup? That.
White bottle.
Yeah, that.
This is a fan.
I think he's mistaking that for your microphone, because like the perspective
Yeah,
makes it look. The perspective makes it look just right, and I personally know that's not your microphone.
Yeah, if wait, can I actually? Here's my microphone. Just off.
There we go.
Here.
Nice little windshield.
Yeah. Wait. Just got. Yeah, got that on it and everything. So much better than the last mic. Actually, because every now and then I decide to record me singing something, and it sounds so much different now that I've got this mic over the Blue Snowball, which is a relatively good mic for new streamers, etc. When I'm belting out a song, yeah, just slightly noticeable the difference.
Please don't belt out songs.
But I want to.
He says there seems to be a lot of pops and hisses. I'm not hearing them personally. Is it? It might be something to do with. Oh, hang on. Let me try turning you down a touch. It might be my end as it then goes to live, because to me you sound pretty fine.
To me, I sound very annoying. So.
Yeah, I check, but I have no way of doing so because I don't have a smartphone to listen to this stream on right now. Yeah, I have no real way of figuring that out. Do you mind just listening into to it as you talk and seeing how you sound? Because on my end, you definitely sound mostly okay.
Yeah, if I just talk for a little bit and then at least I might be able to hear it myself. Let's see.
It also could just be it passing through Restream. I guess the question is, how do I sound? Because that would really tell us.
You sound fine, so. I'm definitely louder, and I think there's a.
Should I turn you down a bit?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm sure I'm louder anyway.
There you go. I've turned you down.
Yeah, that might get rid of it. I think part of it's just the way I'm talking, not so much that the mic's picking up the hiss. It's just me.
Okay, cool. I've dropped you down, so I think you're now slightly below me audio-wise, which is fine because you're going to become the YouTube stream as well. Okay. Right. So they're going live in about 3 minutes. Let's take a quick look at what's happening there. Oh, look, it's more ads. Crazy, isn't it? Oh, that was Ninja. They're hashtag Team Galaxy. Right, so we'll cut to that in a minute. So before they go live, I guess, it sounds better. I think it could have been the distance Stubby is from the mic. Do you want to get closer to the mic, Stubbers? Get real close.
No.
Ooh.
Never.
Yeah, that's definitely too loud. Okay, cool. Right. So if anyone has any questions, now's the time to ask, because once the stream starts, we'll be like cutting to and from, but it'll be a bit more hectic. So do make sure to get your questions in right now. Whether that can be anything, either Samsung related or smartphone related or tablet related. Just ask us any questions you have, and so we can get on top of those while we still have the chance. And just to help us keep the conversation going, basically, because actually we don't really like talking to each other.
Yeah, I'm definitely not looking at the upcoming Mi 9 5G.
Oh, you know what?
You
know what I saw for the first time in about 3 months?
An
advert for a Huawei device. It was in the newspaper. There was an advert. Free were advertising the Huawei Mate 20X 5G as their flagship 5G device, because it happens to have the fastest 5G chip in it, which is why.
Yeah.
And so they were like, "We have the fastest 5G," which is great, I guess.
Ban Snappy ASMR. Stella would love this though, so very much. By the way, the delay on YouTube is certainly not that great.
I think it's set to regular latency, which is why. Like, I didn't set it to low latency mode because it doesn't need to be exactly live. Was my was my mental reasoning for it?
Yeah.
Right. Let's give it another minute or two, and then we can kick over to the live stream. Just as a reminder, this is not the official Samsung stream, obviously, just in case you couldn't tell. If you want the official Samsung stream, it exists within the description of the YouTube video, so it's easy for you to get to. And if you ask, I'll copy and paste it in Twitch chat as well. If you want the official stream, go there, do that. Not here. No, we're going to be talking ridiculous stuff. We'll probably be talking over each other, over the stream, over all of it, because we have stuff to talk about. And if you don't want to hear what we have to talk about, go watch the official stream, because that's what that's there for. Whew, with that out of the way, I got 1.32. What's that in response to?
The delay, I'm guessing.
Oh, maybe. That might be it. Yeah, I didn't bother setting YouTube to low latency, because I have a preset for whenever we do live streams. So I just use that. Okay, I'm going to close every tab I don't need right now.
Did you tweet out the stream on Snappy-Tech, by the way?
I did not tweet it out at all. I'm doing that now. Also, they've already the reviews are already up. I guess the embargo lifted.
Yeah, so I whilst you were getting the food, I did actually say I don't know when the embargo lifts exactly. I presume it's 9 PM, which has just been answered. Yeah, they're going live now. Cool.
Right, I'm gonna switch over to that then. Oh yeah, I see it. Let's unmute it. Oh god, that's loud as expected.
Oh, same.
I'm going to turn that down drastically. Okay, and then hello.
God, I cannot hear anything right now. There we go. It's a bit quieter. Oh, might help if I don't accidentally pause it. Let's bring this over here so I can see me.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'm so glad to be back in Brooklyn.
Back in
Unveil
Brooklyn.
The newest version of the world's most powerful note. Thank you. But as excited as I am, and I am very excited, I'm not here just to unveil a new device. 6 months ago in San Francisco, we opened the world's eyes to new possibilities that will drive a new decade of innovation and progress. There, I shared Samsung's vision to be the innovator of new mobile experiences that flow with us seamlessly and continuously wherever we go. Experiences that reach across every device, platform, and brand. Today, I'm here to show you how we are translating this vision into meaningful innovation by pioneering new technologies, creating new categories, and forging new partnerships. 10 years ago, the smartphone changed how we work, connect, and express who we are. Now, the time has come to take the next big leap into the future. It begins with a new approach to technology progress that we call experience innovation. Experience innovation is more than just the features on a smartphone.
All this talk of innovation is making me think of Apple
devices,
events.
services.
It takes
and
courage to innovate,
capabilities
Paul. It
across
takes
the
courage.
universe of Galaxy devices and our
It takes
vast
courage to say innovation
partner
about
ecosystem.
50 times in a minute.
So that experiences flow seamlessly and continually to unlock the potential of your ideas and make your life easier. Experience innovation is possible now because game-changing technologies like 5G have created the perfect conditions to do more. With millions of connected
Really quickly, actually, do you reckon they'll unveil the Fold again? Because they've said they're going to release it in September. So do you reckon we're going to see more Fold?
I am not sure. I'm wondering whether that's why they suddenly decided to not release the watch and tablet today and do it before now.
Do you reckon
Maybe
they bumped
that's
it and
why.
added the Fold in instead?
Maybe.
So
that
maybe we're
is-
seeing free phones today.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing to me that makes sense. Like, that's their plan.
Yeah.
Let's go back to listening in.
transportation will be faster and more reliable. Our businesses will be more productive and more efficient. But as 5G connects more and more devices, security becomes more important than ever and more complicated. Experience innovation depends on trust in the networks you connect with, the services you use, and the devices you depend on. At Samsung, we know the foundation for trust is security. Security must be built into the device, from chipset to kernel, device to network, and app to cloud. Through Samsung's secure supply chain and the industry's most robust risk analysis, we are setting new standards for security.
Just a quick apology for the sound you heard as Paul retweeted my tweet. I forgot to mute system sounds. Really quickly, I also want to thank Samsung for not doing what they did with the S4 launch, which, if you don't remember, was a massive Broadway show. If you haven't seen it, go watch it at some point, but isn't right now. But I'm just glad they're actually talking about their product as opposed to a fake Broadway show.
Experience innovation into every device we create and every service we deliver. It is at the heart of our commitment to a generation that seeks to live and work on their terms. A generation that has left work-life balance behind and embraced work-life flow. A generation that is searching for purpose and meaning in everything they do.
Is that Simone
A
Gietz?
generation that values authenticity, flexibility, and the speed. I admire their ambitions. So for everyone who demands the best, I'm proud to introduce the newest version of the world's most powerful mobile device. The ultimate power phone for power users.
Really, really quickly. Yeah, I think the three dots were intentional. They weren't there by mistake. That's something you see on galleries in presentations sometimes. Secondly, that second photo was definitely Simone Gietz. That was definitely her. Anyway, back to this.
Real-time stories by posting professional quality videos to your social feed. Join your friends to play multiplayer games with lag-free performance and movie quality visuals. And when your life is packed with back-to-back meetings, you will know that a quick charge will keep you up and running all day long.
Did someone say quick charge?
So, for those who are shaping the future by reinventing the present, it is my pleasure to introduce the Galaxy Note 10.
So that we don't get copyright struck for the music on that, I've turned down the audio so we can just watch the advert without listening to the funky music. The question, if they remove the headphone jack, that isn't official yet, but they have. I'm sure we'll see the official rear look at the phone, bottom look. Sorry, it's definitely gone, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, this is the Note 10, fam squad fam. Whatever. I do really like this layout, to be fair, this screen layout. I feel like the last couple of Galaxy events have had really innovative screens. And they have a really good set of displays set up. Again, if you have any questions,
It does look quite cool.
make sure you post them in chat.
Okay,
you.
Note 10 and 10 Plus, so we kind of already knew this,
Just getting
but
started. There's
now
so
having
much more to
confirmed.
show you today. So many advances to share that will drive new mobile experience innovations for years to come. Plus, a special
hope so.
guest
Hope
you
to
won't
show.
want to miss. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Now please sit back and enjoy the show. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Head of U.S. Product Management, Drew Blacker.
It's great to be back here in New York City to introduce the incredible Note 10. The Note 10 is built for a new generation. It's a generation that's reshaping everything about how we work and how we live. These days, we're catching up on work email 1 minute and gaming with friends the next. The line between work and play has pretty much disappeared. And that means we need technology that can seamlessly flow between the two. These devices we're unveiling here today are built for this new era of mobile productivity. And by productivity, I don't just mean how we work. I also mean how we create and live our lives. To help us do all that, our devices have to be versatile, powerful, and seamlessly connected. The Note 10 is all that and more. A smartphone that can do anything, designed for people who want to do everything. The Note experience has always started with a screen. After all, big screens mean more space to write, draw, and create the way only Note users can. And now, for the first time, people who've always wanted the power of the Note on a smaller device will be able to experience it too. We've packed all the power and productivity of the Note into 2 different sizes, so you can choose the one that's right for you. The Note 10 has everything you know and love about the Note in a smaller, more compact form factor. It's the narrowest
Just the
Note-
size-wise, so this says 6.3 inches. For context, that's basically the size as the S10.
Plus comes with the biggest screen
That's like more or less the same size. And then there's the 6.8-inch one, which is just huge. Like, it is a massive device.
And of course, they both come with a display that gives you a truly incredible cinematic viewing experience. The Note 10's dynamic AMOLED display is brilliant and utterly immersive. And it gives off less blue light to maximize your eye comfort without sacrificing color. We designed the Note 10 to give you more screen with less interruptions. In fact, the front of the phone has virtually no bezels, giving it the highest screen-to-window ratio ever on a Note. To make room for all that screen, we made the camera cutout smaller, and we centered it at the top of the Infinity O display. At the bottom, we built an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor right beneath the glass, so you can easily unlock your phone. The sensor uses software based on machine learning to distinguish between real and fake fingerprints. From its immersive display to its uniform finish, the Note 10
Can I just say, I love every time someone says machine learning. Like,
when it comes to color,
much like 5G, it is one hell of a buzzword.
Yeah.
Which of those colors do you like?
no matter which Note
I think I'm a few seconds behind you.
The Aura Glow looks nice. They only stick around for a couple seconds, so like really look at them fast. There's a very bright red version, but I'm sure Mark has a reviews already.
The red one looks just too bright, but the Aura Glow reminds me a bit of the P30 Pro with the sort of the pinky bluey one.
Yeah, this color here. Right, let's see S Pen, because I think that's the biggest thing here should be the S Pen, because the phone is like a phone. So let's see what they say about the S Pen.
users inspire us
Yeah.
every year to keep pushing the limits of what the S Pen can do. You've gone from jotting down quick reminders to taking detailed notes, from sketching pictures to creating amazing works of art. The S Pen experience has become so powerful that we're bringing it to other devices too, including the brand new Galaxy Tab S6 that we just introduced last week. Here, let's check it out.
Pew pew pew. Again, to not get the copyright struck, we're going to turn this down as music plays. If you're not aware of the Tab S6, we were discussing this earlier. It has dual cameras on the rear. an under-screen fingerprint sensor. It has S Pen support, a 7,020 milliamp hour battery, and yeah, it's nice. It's like the S5e, which Paul has, but better in every single way. I hate to break it to you, Paul.
Yeah.
It's also more expensive, so you know that's a thing, because money matters. It's not just an infinite pool, or is it?
Yeah. See, if it wasn't for the price, then I would be more like, oh shit, I wish I'd waited. But yeah, the S6 is quite the expensive tablet, so I'm glad I've still got the S5e, and it's still a beast for all my media consumption needs.
Now I think they're just going to breeze through the specs right now. Yeah, so they're just currently discussing the S Pen. So I guess if we keep talking about this device just really quickly while they go through it, that keyboard reminds me very much of the Surface keyboard. And as someone who, for like mobility, has been using Windows less and less, like I currently have a Chromebook, which I absolutely love. I am actually quite on board with that, depending on how good the Android implementation is. But I've just been loving Chrome OS personally, and the more I use it on the go, the less I want to use Windows.
Yeah, and I think with the power of DeX, it makes it a lot more useful. I think there could be issues in normal Android with just how useful it can be, but with DeX, it then makes it amazing.
Yeah, and just a quick reminder, if you do have any questions about anything that's been announced or anything that's rumored and hasn't been announced just yet, do leave them in the chat and we'll get to it. Let us know what you want to know and we'll make sure to cover it. Word document support though, that's pretty cool. Right, let's listen back in on what they're saying right now.
And it's all powered by machine learning. Of course, the S Pen is much more than just...
Sorry, just really quickly. Of course, as soon as I turn it up, the first thing they say is machine learning. Like we didn't just make a joke about it, for Christ's sake.
To give you new ways to control your note. Users loved being able to capture a photo with just the click of an S Pen. This year, we're building on that foundation by giving the S Pen a new 6-axis motion sensor, including an accelerometer and a gyro sensor. By detecting
Did you hear the guy say
direction and
nice in the
acceleration of your
background?
movements, the S Pen lets you control your device with simple gestures. To show you how it works, we have a product experience zone set up right outside. Let's go there now. Please welcome travel vlogger and filmmaker Ava Zubek.
Hi everyone, it's great to be here. My job takes me all around the world, but today I am right here in the product experience zone with the brand new Note 10, and I'm really excited to show you how the S Pen works.
This could be like
Now, the
waving
thing
magic
about traveling
wands
for
and
a
you can just,
living
like,
is that I end
take
up in
photos.
some pretty remote places, and most of the time all by myself.
As they talk about that,
This can be a difficult
is it just me or is the
almost
audio and video slightly out of sync?
experience to share with all of you. Now, when I'm
Like it's
traveling
Ever
alone and
so
yeah, it's
slightly.
extremely marginal, but it's definitely out of sync.
ask a stranger to take it for me, but
Yeah, just about,
not
just
every
about.
stranger is going to be able to take it as well, and not
Side
everyone
note,
understands
so I'm
the
actually
snap
watching
picture of you. And
the
this is why I am so
stream
excited about
through
the S Pen
Twitch
remote
at the moment,
control.
your stream,
Because of
because for some reason, no matter how many times I reload, I cannot get it down to as short a delay as you've
Let me
got.
show you how it works.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
What, the official
With
one?
my Note 10,
Yeah, it's like 10 seconds behind, like you react to something, and I'm sitting here for like 7 or 8 seconds before I'm like, okay, that's what you
Snappy-Tech,
mean.
that's where you hear it all first. We're actually directly
Obviously.
linked into New York right now.
and I'm ready to
Let's
take
listen into this
Obviously, yeah.
experience, but let's see how this works.
There are so many cool modes that you can choose from, and with the S Pen's motion tracking feature, I can switch between them all using just the S Pen without ever having to actually touch the screen. If I want to zoom out or in, I can do that with the S Pen too. When I'm done composing my shot, I simply press the button, and there we have it. Now, when I'm traveling, sometimes I want to share with you some of the incredible places and landscapes that I encounter. So, if I spot something interesting that is behind on the other side of my phone, I can simply swipe up, flip up with my S Pen, and it switches over to the back camera. It's pretty amazing, right? I can't wait to take the Note 10 with me on my next adventure. I'm off to Mongolia to do a solo horse trek, but I won't actually be solo because I'll have the Note 10 with me, and I hope that you guys all follow along. Back to you, Drew.
I'm sorry, that was one hell of a cringe moment.
As you've seen, we've integrated new ways for the S Pen to control your phone more effectively, creatively, and productively. And it can be used to control other apps too. We worked with YouTube to integrate motion controls into their app. And we're also giving Galaxy users access to YouTube Premium. So if I want to watch one of Ava's videos, I can play, pause, skip ahead to the next video, and control the volume, all without even having to touch the screen. And tonight, we're opening up the SDK.
Sorry, really quickly, they have definitely placed someone like right next to a microphone who's like saying wow and no way. Like that's the second time I've heard it now.
What's
With
the
all
odds
these
on
new
it being a Samsung
experiences, you'll
employee?
want to use your S Pen more than ever. So we gave the S Pen a new and improved battery that can go hours on a single charge.
And you can pretend to be a wizard in
And
many
recharging
different
is
apps.
as easy as sliding your S Pen back into your Note. The S Pen is a perfect example of how the Note has changed the way we work and create. But it's not the only powerful creativity tool on the Note 10. It also comes with a state-of-the-art camera that lets you shoot like a pro. Look, smartphones have turned us all into photographers. We use our phones to capture our daily lives and share our most important memories. With the Note 10, there's a perfect lens for every shot, giving you the versatility to take incredible photos in a variety of situations. Our smartphones let us take amazing photos, but we want our videos to look professional too. To do that, we need the right...
Really quickly, that photo they're demoing, I'm pretty sure that's the bridge on Canary Wharf that they've just like blocked out the windows for. Because I think they were definitely shooting something there like a few weeks ago. So I think that's what that is. That's here in London.
You know our live focus feature, the one that allows you to control the bokeh or background blur to get some really amazing looking photos? Well, with Note 10, you can apply bokeh to your videos too. So if you're shooting a close-up, you can choose an effect that keeps the focus right on the subject. And there's some awesome effects to choose from. Cameras have always let us focus in on images.
Him saying it
Now the
bokeh
Note 10
annoys me
lets you
so
zoom
much,
in on
but-
sounds. So as you zoom in, both the image and the sounds come into focus.
What does that even mean? Sound comes into focus.
Video experience gives you a powerful tool for every situation, even the occasional action
That's
scene.
just
For
either
me,
gonna be
that's chasing our twins, Jack and
decent
Ava,
or
around the house,
completely
trying to get them on
useless.
camera at the same time. So this one's going to be perfect for me. Super Steady puts an action camera in your smartphone. We trained the Note 10 with over 1 million frames of footage so it can predict camera movements for different scenes. Can you spot the difference? Here, let's see it again. So using the Note 10's built-in gyro sensor, Super Steady detects speed and shakiness to stabilize your footage for you. But filmmaking isn't just about capturing awesome video and audio. That's why we put an entire editing suite right on the Note 10. I love it too. Now you
That
have
will
all
probably be the
tools
loudest
you need
cheer
to
of this
tell your
event,
story.
and I'm okay with that.
And who better to try it out than one of the pros? We asked LA-based content creator Casey McPerry to give it a go.
Right, so we have another like video thing happening, so we're just gonna let that roll. What do you think so far of the stuff they've announced? The live focus on video thing is something that Huawei brought out with the with the P30 Pro. So that's been around for a little while, and it worked okay on the P30 Pro. I guess it depends on how well it works on the Note 10 to decide like how good it actually is. But to me, it definitely felt like something that was a bit gimmicky, like the kind of thing that you use once and then never quite remember exists.
Yeah. I think that's spot on. It feels like something you're just gonna forget it exists or not care it exists after you've tried it once. I think. Yeah. I that that audio thing that was just weird. I'm interested to see how they use it, but yeah, not sure what
Yeah,
to say.
it was a pretty weird sentence to hear. Like that sentence didn't quite pass
Yeah,
properly in my head. So maybe it's the kind of thing that you like see them do it, and you're like, oh, that's what you meant by zoom into audio. But like
yeah,
that's not how microphones work. Like
yeah. Especially not on a smartphone.
yeah, especially not on a smartphone. Um, but yeah, we'll see about that, I guess. So far though, like it all seems fine. Like there's nothing exceptional, which like
Yeah,
I guess
solid.
yeah,
Basically.
it's a solid device, and to be fair, I do quite like the look of that bezel-less dot. Like the Infinity O display does look great, as was expected.
Yeah.
Um, is that phone plugged in so she can't take it and run? Because that's what it looks like to me. Right, should we listen in on this? Let's listen in.
Yeah.
Put it in video mode and click the AR doodle icon in the top right corner. And I'm just going to start to draw. So I'm going to write Josh's name here in case any of you have forgotten it already. And then I'm going to use this 3D brush to draw some gorgeous leaves on Josh's head just to match the background, you know. Over here. And then we're going to use this special effect pen and set it to this gorgeous metallic pink color. So the AR doodle is going to sense Josh's face and stick my drawings to his face. If he moves around, my drawings move too. And if he hides his face, they disappear. And when he's back, they come back too. So this also works in groups of people, which means that you can personalize everyone's filter to their personality, which I love, but it doesn't stop there. If I hit everywhere, we've got a preloaded graphic here, very cute, but we are going to add some of this water brush, which I really, really love. So this is an invisible pen, but basically it tracks what's around it and shows its reflections, which is awesome. I'm going to grab the metallic brush here.
Samsung, I hope you know that literally no one is going to use this feature.
Big spiral, and you can see, like, I don't really understand how it
I
works.
think people are probably gonna, after they've set up their phone, they're gonna go into the camera app and play with the feature for about 1 minute and then never touch it again.
Like this is the kind of it's a bit like that live focus on video thing, right? It's the kind of thing that like
But
they'll
even
use
worse.
once and that's basically it. Like
Yeah.
it's just because unless you're like a proper designer, you're not going to be drawing on photos and expecting it to not look like trash. Like
Yeah, I think it's just one of those gimmicky things. You might just get some random vlogger that's like, fuck it, let's do this, but I really don't think.
yeah, I think every now and again you'll get something great out of it, but on the whole, like not
Yeah,
many people are going to
it's,
use that.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, it's certainly not being made for the average consumer.
Is your canvas.
Really.
It's just one more example of how the Note 10 lets you flex your creative muscles in brand new ways. And if you choose a Note 10 Plus, you'll get access to another AR experience that'll bring a whole new dimension to your creativity and productivity through our depth vision camera. This camera is unlike anything we've ever put on a Note. Together with a wide-angle lens, it specializes in measuring depth of field. It uses AR to enable some truly next-level experiences, like 3D scanning. Now you can use your Note 10 Plus to scan an object and bring it to life. Let's go back to Josh to see how it works.
Thanks, Drew. The 3D scanner is so much fun. Let me show you how it works with this little guy over here. He's a character from Samsung Kids Mode. His name is Bobby. Hey, Bob, you ready? After I open up the 3D scanner app, I'm ready to start scanning. Here we go.
So whilst this runs in the background, I just want to take a moment to point out that this is something that Sony debuted back in September of 2017, so like 2 years ago now, on the Sony Xperia XZ1. They used time of flight and a bunch of cameras to do 3D object creation. Much like this, like what it's basically the same as exactly what we're seeing now. But their big thing for that was like using it to recreate like models of people. Like if you went around someone's head, you'd have like a 3D model of their head. Or at least that was the first demo they showed of it. And then you can rig it as well, apparently. Oh God! Don't tell me you can. What are they doing here? Let's see how good the auto rigging is. Oh, you know what? That's some pretty decent auto rigging. I've seen worse.
It catches up for me.
Oh, you can see a couple of. It's like glitching around a bit. Like you can see like the bit of the neckline, like where the stomach and the neck is a bit glitchy. But you know what? That's not too. Like I've seen worse rigging. Like it's not terrible. Oh God, what's that arm doing?
Oh, that's not quite ideal.
Come check it out yourself.
Yeah,
at
I
the
mean,
Product
I've not
Experience Zone
I've
after the show.
seen
Back
worse
to you, Drew.
rigging, though it certainly has work.
Thanks, Josh.
We certainly
Thanks,
need
Bobby.
to work.
As you just saw, the Note 10 opens up entirely new creative possibilities. Now we can create our own AR effects using just our smartphones. And Note users will be some of the first to try it out. With all this cool stuff you're making, you're going to need a phone that can store everything so you can relive your favorite moments over and over again. Note 10 comes with all the storage capacity you need.
I do really like that color.
Storage without the laptop.
It does.
To tell you more about the power
nice,
and potential of this extraordinary device, please welcome Pooja Vig.
Thanks, Drew. It's absolutely fantastic to be here and to tell you even more about the awesomeness of the Note 10 and the Galaxy ecosystem. From the beginning, we've designed Note devices to be fast, powerful, and long-lasting, so you can always be at the top of your game. Well, guess what? The Note 10 pushes those boundaries even more. It's a perfect tool for people who are always on the go and move seamlessly between work and life. Take me, for example. I'm a working mom with 2 daughters, and as you can imagine, my plate is more than full. I use my Note to keep it all together, whether it's at home or at work. From jotting down reminders to capturing special moments like this one, and yes, that is my daughter, 3 years ago, the Note helps me manage every aspect of my life. And you know what? Given that our phones are with us around the clock, when our phones perform better, it's no surprise. We perform better. And one of the biggest proof points of performance is gaming. Smartphones are quickly becoming the most popular gaming platform in the world. Especially if you're playing a graphics-heavy game, the Note 10 delivers a truly epic experience. Here's how. Our intelligent game booster actually analyzes your gaming pattern and optimizes its performance just for you. And to add more, the Note 10 has a vapor chamber that cools your phone down even when the game is heating up. So whether you're a casual gamer or a hardcore, it doesn't matter. You'll get the best experience possible. And as more console and PC gamers move to mobile, multiplayer support has become super critical. That's why we're teaming up with Discord, so you can bring your friends directly to your Note 10 and other Galaxy phones. Now, for the first time, you can voice chat with your squad and check their mobile game status directly through the Samsung Game Launcher with Discord.
We're using Discord right now. I know.
I was just thinking that.
Huh?
Like, Discord, what's that?
What is this Discord thing? It's really quickly, actually. On a serious note, Discord is like infinitely better than Skype. Just use Discord, please.
From amazing gaming to all-day productivity, the Note 10 is incredibly powerful. It has a super fast processor and smooth high-res graphics. And with the biggest and the smartest battery we've ever put onto a Note, we've built to last all day. And there's more. Your Note 10 optimizes your battery usage so you can do the things that matter most. But if you do need a recharge, it won't take long. The Note 10 supports fast wireless charging 2.0. And for the first time, the Note 10 Plus also supports super fast wire charging up to 45 watts.
45 watts is quite good.
So in just 30 minutes, if I forget to charge my phone overnight, no sweat whatsoever.
That's,
in just 30 minutes, the time it takes me to get through my morning yoga routine, I have enough charge to last me through the day. No doubt, the Note 10 is a very powerful phone, and to keep up, we need a powerful network like 5G to support it. It's hyper-fast and hyper-connected, and it's poised to transform every industry. So what does that mean for you and me?
I think if I say 5G one more time, I'm gonna die. Like, honestly.
Like never before. You'll be able to watch from different angles and even zoom in to see your favorite singer up close. Or if you're a car racing fan and you want to catch a crucial turn, you can pause, rewind, and replay in slow-mo. Samsung is leading the way in 5G. The Galaxy S10 5G was one of the first commercial smartphones to put the power of this expanding network in your hands. And now, we're bringing that power to the Note with the Note 10 Plus 5G. But don't just take it from me. Thank you. Industry experts know that Samsung goes above and beyond, and they're recognizing us for our leadership in creating the next generation of 5G devices. 5G isn't just the fastest network, we're also working hard to make sure it's the most secure. With Samsung Knox, our devices are protected by a defense-grade security platform. After all, we trust our devices with our most valuable possession, our data. Knox is built into the S10 and anchored directly to the chipset to make sure the only person who can access your phone is you. And with regular software updates, rest assured, your phone will be secure. The Note 10 keeps you connected to super-fast networks and to the entire Galaxy ecosystem. At Samsung, we're uniquely positioned to make sure all your devices work together to make your life better. From the phones in our pockets, to the laptops on our desks, to the smartwatches on our wrists. Which brings me to the newest star in the Galaxy ecosystem, the Galaxy Watch Active 2. We unveiled it with LA chef and entrepreneur Roy Choi earlier this week. Let's check it out.
We didn't really talk about the Galaxy Watch, because there isn't really too much to talk about. Like, the Galaxy Watch 2 is effectively the Galaxy Watch, just with a smaller bezel, which is nice, and a couple of extra heart rate sensor thingies on the back. But like performance and battery life wise, it's not that much more amazing. It's a nice little upgrade, I guess. And if you're looking for one, it's a way to go. But it's not revolutionary if you have a current one.
Yeah, and I think the current, like the original, was quite a good watch. So any improvements are welcome.
Yeah, I think the bigger thing for me is like the digital bezel thing they have. Like they just showed it off there, where like because the thing I love about my Galaxy, because I have a regular Galaxy Watch, and the thing I love about that is the bezel. Like the fact that you can rotate it without and not have to like touch the screen to like navigate through menus and stuff. Because on a screen that small, it just doesn't make sense.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a because it's a digital one rather than a physical one, which is a shame because the physical one just has a nice tactile feel to it to use, makes it a lot nicer and easier to use. So,
Yeah, it's
but
got a
it's
good
still
clunk
nice.
to it.
Yeah, but having the digital one's still nicer than actually pressing the screen with like tiny little buttons. I'm sure.
And it also offers ECGs, if I recall correctly.
I can't confirm because I haven't looked at the specs myself.
Right, we're just getting another advert in this case for Under Armour. Yeah. Because you're current, what watch are you rocking currently?
I mean, currently, like no watch, but
Well, you know what I mean.
the Honor Watch Magic. Is that the...
Yep, that's the right way around.
Yeah, finally. I think that's the first time I've got it. Got the words the right way around. Right way around on that one. Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of it. I get it gets a bit uncomfortable, but I think that's just partially because I'm not a big fan of wearing a watch constantly. But yeah, it just doesn't have enough interaction with my phone and things on it, partially because I'm not using it with a Huawei or an Honor phone. But even when it is linked up to a Huawei phone, it just doesn't have enough to it. It's more of a fitness thing with notifications. So yeah, and considering I don't do any fitness, it doesn't really work well.
They're currently, just in case anyone's wondering, they're currently just talking about the fitness features and how it like it's pretty generic stuff like how it logs your steps. And apparently, if you set it up with the shoes, it'll tell you how long your steps are. Because Under Armour have like tracking shoe things, that tell you how long your stride is and stuff like that. Right, let's go back in there.
And leave my phone behind. It comes in an LTE version, so you can take the calls and send messages directly through the watch. And if you're logged into your Samsung account, you can also access other cool services like Samsung Health and Samsung Pay. And if you're listening to a beat on Spotify, you can start playing a song on your phone, then go for a run and keep listening with just your watch and your Galaxy Buds. Hell, you can even use your watch to snap a group selfie from your phone. How cool is that? Your Watch Active 2 becomes even more powerful when you use it with your phone because the Note 10 comes with the wireless power share. That means when your phone is running low on battery, you can just place it on the back of your phone to charge. Quick, simple, easy.
She just misspoke. She just said if your phone's running low on battery, you can put it on the back of your phone. She definitely meant watch.
If you have two phones, then
to sharing the finish line pics with your family. With the Galaxy Watch Active 2, you can stay healthy, fit, and connected. And now is the best part. In terms of availability, the Active 2 starts at $279, and you can buy beginning September 13th. And you can also get our awesome new Tab S6, which Drew showed you earlier, in just a couple of weeks. The Tab S6 starts at $649, and it's available from August 23rd. No doubt, these new devices will help you unlock your full potential and your pioneering spirit to do what you do best, no matter where you go. Now, to tell you more about the future of mobile computing, please welcome Hassan Anjum.
Thanks, Pooja. How's everyone doing?
This is definitely going to be the bit where we discuss
Good. These devices are
the whatchamacallit, the fold. Yeah, 15 minutes left, as Reaper Knight points out. We'll probably wrap up pretty soon. They don't really have much left to talk about. So they'll probably just round it out a bit and then call it a night.
The Note 10 is great for working on the go.
Stubbers, do you have any questions in your chat? Just so I don't forget.
In my chat?
Yeah.
What, I'm not streaming?
You're hosting though, aren't you?
Yeah, till people will come over here. I'm sure. Yeah, people are, if they see me hosting, they'll probably just come straight over to the chat. They won't chat in my chat.
Cool. Yeah, so Dexy stuff. What I really like about Dex is that you no longer need the dock thing. Like, it just works over USB-C in this case.
And
Like,
I think that was an important thing. The dock was nice, forgiving, because I think it had HDMI on it, didn't it?
yeah, the dock had HDMI, and it has a couple of USB ports and stuff.
Yeah, which I think is important, but at the same point, it's a hell of a lot more expensive than getting a dongle. And yeah, I think at which point it prohibited the use for most people with using Dex, especially getting started with it and seeing if it's even useful to you. To spend the that kind of money on something you don't even know is going to be useful or a good experience is difficult. Whereas being able to test it out first, it's great.
Yeah, and initially it was actually required. I'm not sure if you remember the first set of Dex stuff actually had like an active fan on the back to cool the device because it used to be really demanding.
Yeah.
Whereas now that's just not an issue anymore, and it's the same with like the P30 Pro or like any other major flagship. You can just literally like plug it in via a HDMI to USB-C cable, or whatever you want. Just plug it into a display and it works.
I think.
And I was just going to say, they're currently showing off the integration that Windows now integrates with Dex. So if you link your phone to your laptop, or in this case laptop, or your computer, you can actually just tap a button and it connects automatically. So let's listen on this real quick.
Okay.
And much more from inside your phone app. I can now reply to my texts. I can also include a picture that I've recently taken on my phone into this message and send it away. I can use my full keyboard. Notifications from my phone are mirrored on my PC. These notifications are natively integrated into Windows. I have a friend here sending me a message on my phone. You see the notification being mirrored here. I can either reply inline here, or I can simply click the notification to be able to get my entire phone screen mirrored onto my PC. Now, I can use my keyboard and my mouse like I showed you, but my favorite way to interact is actually using touch. So I'm able to swipe up. I can look at all of the apps I have there. I could go into one of my pictures. So the picture that you just saw, I'm able to pinch and zoom as well. And if people send me messages with pictures in them, I can do that exact same thing as well. I'm really excited to announce that later this year, we will be enabling you to make and receive calls as well directly from your PC. Now, we've also partnered with Samsung on the Note 10 to bring you deeply integrated productivity experiences with OneDrive and Outlook. With OneDrive, you have easy access to all of your pictures across your devices. And coming soon, Samsung Gallery will have an option to sync to OneDrive directly. Now, some of us take pictures to remember things, record sensitive information like driver's licenses or passports. I'm excited to announce that our new feature, OneDrive Personal Vault, helps secure all of that information in the cloud. Now, I can open my vault directly from my OneDrive app by using my biometric recognition on my Note 10.
Right. Okay. I think so. I think they've hit on the two major points just now. The wireless screen mirroring, really cool. I love that. That's great.
Yes.
Because honestly, like personally, that's something I love having to have. Is it going to sync at the cost of size? Google Photos does that. So the way Google Photos does it is they have two tiers, so you can either have the image resolution scaled down, and I think it's not small. I want to say it's like 10 megapixels. So for the majority of photos, like that's plenty of size. Or you can keep the full image, and then that then requires to use your storage allowance. So it's your choice, and I'm pretty sure you can do that on a photo by photo basis as well, which you shouldn't. Like, just set it to one and deal with the repercussions. But yeah, that wireless screen mirroring is really great, and being able to make phone calls or send and receive text messages from your Windows device with your Samsung phone is great.
Yeah, and I think that will actually be super useful because you can already get this app so you can see the notifications on Windows, but you can't really do much in the way of interacting with the notifications you get from us, as far as I know. So because actually recently I've been using this, so it's been useful in case my phone's on the sofa or whatever, and I can't see or hear my phone getting notifications. I still need to pick up my phone to do things with it.
Yeah, because
Whereas now I can do it all through my computer.
Yeah, because you can
with that.
reply to text messages like no issue through the notification on the Your Phone app. But if it's something like a
Yeah.
Snapchat message, or like for whatever reason you can't reply via the notification, being able to just like hop in and reply really quickly is great. ReaperKnight86 says, as a photographer, I can noticeably see downscaling when I use Google Photos. It's why I don't use cloud photo sharing. If you have it set to use high quality, like to use the original, then it shouldn't do any downscaling at all, and you can actually download the original photo completely untouched by Google. So even if the preview is downscaled, like when you hit download, you get the full resolution photo as it was originally. And then he followed up with, it's like uploading to Facebook, and I can tell you right now, uploading to Facebook is terrible because they downscale to 1000 by 1000, I think is the maximum resolution off the top of my head.
I can't confirm or not. I don't know. I know with Google, yeah, you can put up either the full original quality, or I want to say it's 4.5 meg or 8 meg or something around that. Which, if it's a picture from a phone, then you probably wouldn't notice the lack of resolution that gives you quite so much unless you majorly zoom in. If you're taking pictures from like a DSLR or something like that, that's when you do notice it, because the very few pictures that I do have on my Google Drive that are in full resolution are ones that I've taken from DSLR.
I've just checked. It resizes to 16 megapixels. So in most cases, like on a smartphone, like the iPhone camera is only 12 megapixels. Like, just for context. So it will actually not touch those photos at all. I think they're currently showing off the DeX display. Is that what that is, or is that a new actual laptop?
It looks like it.
I'll look into it. I have a Note 9. Yeah, I tend to use high quality for most stuff. Oh, it's the new Galaxy Book, of course. Well, I say use, like I still have a smartphone. I used to use high quality because for most stuff it's fine. And then when you upload manually, then it does it at the original quality. Or I just upload it directly to Drive or however I wanted to share it. But I find that Google Photos is a great way, especially. So the other thing it does is it downscales video to 1080p, which in most cases you should be filming in 1080p anyway. Because especially if you're like sharing to Facebook or like to YouTube, not necessarily to YouTube, but if you're sharing to like social media like Twitter or Facebook, like having that in 4K just makes zero sense because you get like 5 seconds of 4K before you hit the maximum file size limit. So they're currently discussing the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8CX, which is Qualcomm's new chip to run Windows. So this is a Windows laptop device thingamadoodle. As you can tell, it's running Windows in light mode by this little bar at the bottom. The ACX, I think, off the top of my head, there haven't been many benchmarks because it hasn't been in many devices yet. My understanding is it
No.
performs about the same as an i5.
I don't know.
That's
Yeah,
my
as you say,
understanding, and it has like, because in basically it's great in bursts, which most of the time is what you need. And it has great battery life, and so for like short, snappy stuff, it's about equivalent to an i5. Off the top of my head.
yeah. I'd be interested to get two laptops side by side with all specs the same except for the processor, and have one with the 8CX in and one with an i5 or whatever is the closest processor to it, or in price wise as well.
You can actually see just how ridiculously thin it is. Like, it makes a USB-C port look ridiculously thick.
Yeah, the fact that they've actually had to thick out a device in that area to do that's just stupid.
Available in
And
September. I know what I'm getting myself for my birthday.
But this is one of those situations where not having a HDMI or a USB-A port, I'll kind of let you away with that.
Yeah, because especially if considering just how thin and light that must, like, they didn't have mentioned weight, but considering just how thin that must be, if you're someone who's traveling, like, that is priceless to you. Like, having something like really, really tiny is great.
Especially as I would assume that the Snapdragon 8CX has pretty decent battery life. In which case, traveling with it, it will be a delight.
Absolutely. We're seeing a glimpse here of the new Galaxy Buds. They haven't mentioned them. They're actually the same, like, spec-wise, but there's just a new color of them that fits in with the whatchamacallit.
Helpful.
It fits in with the new color. Yeah, and as Reaper Knight mentions, no mention of the Fold at all in this event, which is a bit weird because they said they'd be launching it in September. So maybe they have another separate event planned.
They have, however, finally mentioned the battery capacity because I don't think they mentioned it when they said the actual lifespan of it, the device. 3,500 milliamp hours. In the Note 10 sounds quite meh for the device. 4,300 milliamp hours in the 10 Plus. That sounds pretty decent, but I guess it's all about how it uses that battery. I certainly wouldn't be keen on the Note 10 if it's going to cost more than the S10 Plus and still be having the smaller battery.
Well, the big thing about that is because it has to make space for the S Pen. Like, that's it's always had like a pretty average size battery for, like, relative to its physical size, because they've had to stick the S Pen in there as well.
And personally, I'd far prefer the extra battery. But part of the Note lineup is the S Pen, so
yeah, that's
can't
a signature.
make a version without it. Though I would certainly like there to be one. But yeah, I love the Note 10 Plus, but I'm guessing that's going to be out of my price range. So the Note 10 having the smaller battery does suck a little bit. But I think at that point, it's S10 Plus versus Note 10, and it's all about whether you want the S Pen, I think. Also be interesting to see what the DxO Mark for the camera is. I don't know whether that's also been announced at all.
Probably not yet. It's a bit early for that, I reckon.
Yeah, it doesn't look as if it is.
Something they haven't mentioned
about
the Note 10 really quickly. I've just brought up the specs on GSM Arena because that's usually the easiest way to just, like, find them out. So the Note 10 only, like, I say only half sarcastically, because it still comes in at, how many dots per inch is that? It still comes in at 401 pixels per inch. But the Note 10 has a 1080 by 2280 display, whereas the Note 10 Plus has the 1440 by 3040 display, which is just under 500 pixels per inch. And they both have more or less a 91% screen to body ratio, which is incredible.
Yeah, that is crazy. I think that's only really beaten by things like the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3, phones like that.
Yeah, they both come with the Exynos 9825. The Note 10 Plus has 12 gigabytes of RAM, whereas the Note 10 only has 8. As you said, 35 versus 4300 milliamp hour battery. Cameras are the same. They both come with at least 256 gigabytes of storage, which is great. The Note 10 Plus comes with up to 512 gigs of storage. Interestingly, the Note 10 doesn't have an SD card slot.
Yeah,
But at that amount of storage, does it really matter? Probably not.
yeah. I mean, at 256 gig, you're probably going to be fine. Though slowly going through the Note 10 specs, you do realize that just how much the S10 Plus is still a great phone to have, especially if Carphone Warehouse is still doing the deal that they have been past few days, where you can get the 512 gig version for the same price as the 128 gig.
Yeah.
In which case, I might do that. It's very tempting.
Yeah, so we'll see. Let's listen into Satya and Adela, because I feel like we should. Satya is great.
It starts with the people. It includes all the devices in our lives. And together with Samsung, we're making this a reality. Our ambition is to help people be productive on any device, anywhere. From calls and text messages to emails and photos, we're making these everyday experiences great. The interactions across all the devices seamless. As you saw today, now you can instantly sync your photos across all of the devices. You can edit, annotate anywhere, keep your most personal information secure and right at your fingertips. Access text messages and make and take calls from your PC. And you can do it using any input, voice, pen, touch, and more. Microsoft's mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. At any moment, we want, within your arm's reach, the greatest of experiences wherever you are. And the combination of Microsoft's intelligent experiences and Samsung's powerful, innovative new devices like the Galaxy Note 10 and Galaxy Book S make this possible. This is just a start, and there is much more to do and much more to come, and we are very, very excited about this partnership. And back to you, DJ.
Let's quickly talk pricing, because they didn't have the UK prices on those slides. I guess this is important for you, Paul, because you're considering whether or not you buy one.
Yeah.
So the regular Note 10, remembering that it still has like 256 gigs of storage, comes in at £899, which is cheaper than an iPhone. The Note 10 Plus comes in at £999, which is also cheaper than an iPhone. And the Note 10 Plus 5G comes in at £1,099, which is what an iPhone costs, but that doesn't have 5G. So those are the price points currently. It's one of those things where, and we discuss this every single year, Android phones come down in price so quickly that I wouldn't suggest anyone buy this right now unless there's a really great pre-order gift. Like, just wait 6 months and buy it then when it's like £300 cheaper. But $899 for the standard Note 10 is, considering we've seen like 1,000 be like the benchmark price for flagship phones, is actually okay.
So
It comes in at
the-
cheaper than the P30 Pro,
What was the
or the
10
same
Plus
as the
again?
P30 Pro.
The Note 10
Nine
Plus
nine
again?
nine. So it's £100 more.
So 999.
And
See,
actually,
I
to be
reckon
fair,
s-
for £100, you get quite an upgrade. Like it's no small difference.
yeah.
Like a larger screen that's higher resolution, the larger battery, 4 more gigabytes of RAM. Like there are quite a few good upgrades there.
The 45-watt charging is only on the 10 Plus as well, according to GSM Arena. I've just noticed this as well. It does even more beg the question of if anyone will go for the Note 10 if they don't want the pen. I think that's the main reason why you'd go for the Note 10 over the S10 Plus. So, at which point, the fact it's a similar price, I can kind of understand, and I would consider the Note 10 Plus at 1,000 to be the Note that you would want. And at which point that's actually a reasonable price for it, and pretty consistent in the previous pricing they've tended to adopt for their Note lineup.
Yeah. And I guess, yeah, I think for people who want an S Pen at a lower price, that 899 is fair enough.
Yeah.
Just really quickly, the you know how we mentioned the Galaxy Book S? So that will start at $999 with the Snapdragon 8CX. Just really quickly, I've just checked. It has. Do you want to guess how much battery life it has?
In hours?
Yeah, in hours.
10.
Higher. Also, hello to Inspiring Psych. Come on, give me
15.
Higher. Give me some enthusiasm.
Okay. Is this like one of those ones where it just sounds like it must be complete bullshit and probably is? So.
I can tell you that it's not BS because I've seen how power sipping the 8CX is. In fact, it's always on. Like if it has the you can set it up so that like you can because it also has a modem built in, so you can use like a SIM card. You can have it so it stays on in the background. However, according to this, it has 23 hours of battery life.
That is just crazy. It being quite useful to know how it does under some kind of load, because it's going to probably sit that at quite a light load. If you wanted to start doing something where it really pushes the CPU, how quickly at that point is it just going to blast through the battery? I'm guessing not stupidly quickly. But yeah, it's still one of those things where I probably want to see it.
Yeah, and it is worth mentioning that, like, for example, my my HP Chromebook, like the standard battery life on that is about 10 hours. I think they quote 12, and that feels about right. Like I usually get like over 10. However, I was running Blender on it because you can run Linux on Chromebooks now, because that's a thing. And so I installed Blender on my Chromebook because I thought that would be a good idea. It wasn't. It was a terrible idea, but it was still good fun. It took like 25 seconds to render a frame of an animation, whereas my PC takes about 2 seconds. But you know what? That's fine. But at 100% usage, it was predicting battery life of over 4 hours, which is just how much the Y series processor just sips at battery. Because that has, I think I told you, like a 6,000 milliamp hour battery. Did I say something around there?
6,000, yes.
Yeah. And I've just pulled up a digital trends article talking about the 8CX, and I was right. Yeah, it performs slightly faster than an i5, and it sips at power. Basically, it sips at battery.
An i5U class processor, or what?
I would assume there's like a bunch of different there's a bunch of like benchmarks and stuff. So it at standard it consumes, judging by this graph, like 3 watts of power, I think it is. Like somewhere between 3 and 5 watts. And at 7 watts, it performs approximately twice as fast as an i5. Yeah, so it's against a U. So let me. Whoopsies, I didn't mean to do that. I don't want to. You know what? It's fine. Let me. What's the best way to do this? I know. Add display capture. Okay. Right one. Here we go. So you can see, if you're looking in the stream, you'll see it now. Now you won't. Now you will again. So this is, again, more or less the same spec, same amount of RAM, same amount of NVMe storage. The OS version is newer on the 8CX, but whatever. But you can see the difference. Like it performs more or less comparatively. Let's just go back to this though real quick, because I think they're just wrapping up. Yeah, let's watch. Let's not watch a final advert because I don't want to get copyright struck. But yeah, that 8CX, I think that to me at least is the biggest announcement of today. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a new Galaxy Note and that's great and all.
Yeah, the laptop does look really nice, and actually, something that does interest me is having a lot of devices on the same brand. Of course, Apple do it probably the best, but then you have to use Mac OS, you have to use iOS. That kind of sucks. But having things on Windows and Android, that interests me. And they've today got an entire lineup of things that could basically lock you into the one brand. And yeah, you'd be plenty happy doing it. With Note 10 looks like an okay phone. The Note 10 Plus looks like a great phone. But that laptop with the 8CX chip, that does look really solid. Especially once we get more examples of how well it does in real world scenarios. Yeah, I think it's destined to be a decent chip.
Wait, Paul, are you telling me that benchmarks aren't real world scenarios?
No, that's not what I'm saying whatsoever. Benchmarks are totally realistic. Boys and girls, you should definitely listen to benchmarks 100% of the time.
And exclusively.
Yeah, exclusively. If you observe something, it's probably wrong. If a benchmark tells you it's wrong.
Yeah, and so this is the I do genuinely think this is the most interesting part of this whole thing.
Oh yeah, that's and they didn't even go into that much, which is the annoying thing about it. And it just, though it does leave the suspense there more, because you want to know more about it. I can close down the Galaxy Unpacked thing now. Let's close down the Carphone Warehouse site as well.
Yeah, and here we see a comparison of the i5. This is the same process of the 8250U compared to the 8CX. And it is a genuinely interesting processor. Like this, if it performs as well as they claim it does, this is going to be a massive deal.
And that's the big thing. If it performs as well as they say it does, and until more reviewers can get it in their hands, we can't be sure. But it seems to be doing as good as it claims. Anything's new?
I was about to say, Human said I couldn't see anything new in the Note 10. There were a couple of bits and pieces, and I none of it was revolutionary.
Yeah, it's a solid phone, but it's not. Yeah, it's not the innovation that the start of the stream would make you believe, and it's slightly disappointing. We've seen a lot of the new phones that have been coming out this year. Some of them have been really great, boasting some amazing cameras as well. It just seemed like it's kind of seemed like they needed to put the other devices into the show to distract from how lackluster the Note 10 kind of is.
You know what? That's what I was thinking. Like, considering how little new stuff, like, I'm surprised they didn't leave the other stuff in.
Yeah, I think if they had done, I'm guessing the reason why they did what they did and released the other devices for today, if they had released them all today, they would have had to go into a lot more depth, in which case they would have needed to do it up front rather than being able to do just a few minutes in between note things. Whereas because most of the information is already known, they can do short, snappy, highly interesting pieces in between without completely ruining the note launch and the flow of the thing. If they'd done it all at the start, then it wouldn't have distracted from the Note 10 having lackluster things enough. Yeah, I'm just thinking it's that they would have had, they couldn't have separated it if they were full launches. Plus, it was already quite a long. I say quite long. It's still like an hour event. Anyway.
Yeah. Also, really quickly, just jumping over to a Twitch chat, Reaper Knight 86 says 45-watt charging is kind of absurd, which it definitely is. The hypercharge is what, 25 watts, I want to say, off the top of my head.
On the Note 10 they have the 25 watt.
And on the Note 10 they have 25 watts. I meant the P30 Pro, sorry.
Okay. I think that's 35.
Oh, is it 35?
It's.
I don't have
I'm sure.
Power brick on me to check, unfortunately. Oh, hang on. Oh, let's see if one of these say.
P30 Pro is 40 watt.
Oh, is it 40?
P30,
so it's basically, so it's more or less
Pro,
the same.
Yeah.
Which is great because that P30 Pro charges so rapidly.
Yeah. And it has a bigger battery to charge.
Yeah.
So.
Worst case scenario, the Fold was supposed to be shown today and it wasn't completed. Samsung said was it last week? I think it was last week, or maybe the week before, that the Fold was done. They fixed it now and it's good to go. Which is why I was expecting them to talk about it today. They said they've made all the changes. They actually published all the changes they've made as well. They released like a new video for it and everything. So the fact it wasn't even mentioned is a bit weird.
I didn't expect it to be like a major thing because we know a lot of the details about it anyway. But I certainly expected them at the end to come out with something after all of the main things have been done and be like, by the way, we have this cool new phone that totally wasn't fucked before, and that's why it's been delayed.
Yeah, I at least expected like a reminder, just like oh, by the way, don't forget this is a thing that's coming. Like,
yeah,
you'll love it.
It felt as if the Note was a co-hero. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And as what Human said, what about their Book S? They didn't say anything about what was inside. They said, of course, the Snapdragon 8CX processor. And apart from that, I don't think they said anything. However,
I have
the
main specs thing. If you want them.
Yeah, bring them up on. Actually, if you send,
I can bring them up on stream. Here we go. So I've just gone to the Samsung website. So the 8CX, as we mentioned, Windows 10, 42 watt hour battery, which is there or thereabouts. 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is decent. 256 or 512 gigs of storage. LTE built in, thanks to the 8CX. 802.11 Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.0, USB-C, fingerprint sensor. I didn't see where that was actually. If we take another look at it, is it in the keyboard?
Might be.
It must be in the key. It must be in one of the keys. I can't see it, unless it's built into the trackpad. I doubt it.
Galaxy Book S. That's yeah.
But yeah, these are the specs of the Book X, and it's a 13.3-inch display, 16 by 9. Which actually, the more I use my X2, the more I don't feel like I want a 16:9 display. Like I really like having the extra vertical height of the 3x2 display.
Yeah, I every now and then bring out my old laptop, which I mean isn't an old laptop. I only got it a few months before the Surface Book that I have, but that's the Surface Book's a 3x2, and my old laptop's a 16:9, and the 3x2 display makes such a massive difference. For even just going through web pages and stuff. If you're watching content, I don't like the black bar, the letterboxing. That kind of sucks a little bit, but I can easily put it up with it for all of the other times that having the 3x2 actually comes in genuinely useful.
Also, just a quick heads up, I've just checked on the Samsung website. 23 hours is video playback. So it is a ridiculous amount of battery life for a device that is thinner than a USB-C port.
Yeah. And still managed to get a headphone jack.
So it says, so I'm just reading the blurb here. It says, the moment you touch the power button, fingerprint sensor, keyboard, or the mouse pad, the device is ready to use. Which to me reads as it's not in the power button, the keyboard, or the mouse pad, which means it must be like under the display.
Yeah.
Reaper Knight,
which isn't a surprise.
Yeah, Reaper Knight kindly points out that's like 30 hours of use, 23 hours of video playback. Yeah, it is. Can you imagine taking that on a flight though? Like that'd be great. And
yeah,
you know what's even better? We're going to Insomnia, right? So we're going to be at Insomnia at the end of this month. Imagine, like, I'm going to bring a charger anyway because that's a thing I do regardless of where I go.
Yeah.
But 23 hours of battery life is legitimately enough battery life for me to not even consider bringing the charger, like for it to be a non-issue. Like, if I forget my charger, that's just not a problem. I'll charge it when I get home, whatever.
And I think even if you like have the charger for business people, you could actually work throughout the day, hop on a plane in the evening, be on a plane all night, and then if you get to where you're going, you've still got battery in your in your laptop to go to like meetings or whatever. If you're on a business trip, is actually at that point where you don't need to stop off somewhere to charge here. In the meantime, you can wait till you've got to your hotel after a long flight and a business meeting, whatever.
Also, I just realized that's 3 8-hour work days. You could get halfway through the week and not charge your computer.
Yeah, basically. Especially if you're doing some light stuff, doing emails and stuff. Yeah, you'll be golden. I think you'll be golden. And let's face it, most people would easily be able to charge it in the meantime anyway. And when it's sipping like that, charging on a power bank is very, very easy to do on a laptop like that.
Yeah, it's got like a 5, like if the CPU is 5 watts, like let's assume the overall draw is 15, you could just charge it off a power bank.
Yeah.
Like that's a complete non-issue. Because I do that with my Chromebook all the time. I just plug it into a power bank and a USB-C with a USB-C cable.
And that's one of the things why I want a low-powered USB-C charging laptop, because I can plug it into a power bank if I ever need to. At the moment, I have no reason to need to, but it's certainly nice to have. And when you know it's going to sit charge like that, you can, if you're in between meetings or whatever, you can, and like you're traveling or something, you can just slip it into your bag, just plug it into the power bank in the meantime, and you can get a bit of extra charge out of that, and you could easily go quite a while without charging from a wall.
And really quickly, just to add to this, I have a MacBook Pro that I use for work stuff. I say I have, like it's provided by work. And it's a 15-inch MacBook Pro, 2017, I want to say off the top of my head. It's a 2017 model. That thing eats through battery like there is no tomorrow. and it lasts about 3 hours of like actual usage in terms of battery life.
Yeah, that is a thirsty thing though. That MacBook Pro. Portable charging is the new thing. The Nintendo Switch made it so big items can be charged by a power bank. Part of the thing with the Nintendo Switch, it made it so you didn't need big items in some cases. You could just use, like, if you're on the go and you want to play games, you no longer need a gaming laptop or Android games, or iOS, I guess. You could just use that, and because of that, yeah, I mean, as you say, it did make charging a bit easier because there was more things coming out with USB-C. However, that was happening anyway with the amount of phones that are switching over to that. It just made another reason for companies to come out with that. But God, I do wish I had a Nintendo Switch. Damn it, Rupert Knight.
Human mentions if the Book S could hold 23 hours of video playback, how many hours does it take to be charged? As we mentioned, it has a 42 watt hour battery. By my estimations, I'd say like up to 2 hours. I'd be surprised if it takes longer than 2 hours. That does depend on the power of the charger that comes with the device, obviously. But my Chromebook charges 0 to 100 in about 2 hours with the included charger. And if you use one of those 75 watt hour chargers that come with the MacBook Pro, it charges in like an hour, if that. So it charges pretty rapidly.
Yeah, and I think with devices with that kind of charge, you getting enough power in there quick enough is not going to be an issue. With how it sips power, you can get through so long with just a small amount of charging. And as we say, you can put a power bank or connect up a power bank, and even better. It also has to do with the direction of tech. Now we have a cloud. Laptops don't need huge amounts of space. We don't need to have a huge laptop. Smaller laptop, the same size batteries means longer life with less intrusion into our space. Yes, cloud has made things quite useful, and that is something that makes the Book S even better with having the Snapdragon 8CX and having it cloud connected, being able to have it's 4G.
It's just regular LTE,
yeah. Being able to have that connected to 4G and still sipping power is amazing. It does mean it can do a hell of a lot more than its competition, whilst doing it for longer still, which is phenomenal.
That is my biggest issue with my Chromebook: the lack of LTE. Like, that is the one thing that I wish it had.
And the thing is, it's not as if LTE is something that can't be done with Intel powered tablets or laptops, because the Surface device has had LTE support for as long as I can remember. In fact, my dad, usually with his work, he spends a day on the road each week visiting clients, and has a Surface Pro for that reason with LTE. And but though the battery life is good on that, I don't think it's not going to be anywhere near as good as the ACX. But it proves that it's something that can be done. It's just something that companies don't do. Partially because we have Wi-Fi hotspots on our phone, which mean that a lot of the people that need it, suddenly they have ways to do it. The 8CX is going to make more people have that functionality.
Really quickly, I'm just looking on the website, on the Samsung website. It's the Samsung UK site. Let me throw this up. Here we go. So here it says Note 10 from 899. However, for whatever reason, if you like spec it up, Aura Glow, 256 gigs of storage, all that jazz, the total says 869. So I'm not sure where that's gone wrong, but if you want 30 quid off a Note 10, this is the way to do it right now.
What about the Note 10 Plus?
The Note 10 Plus is showing the right price, I checked.
Fuck. Can you just like quickly hack them, get 30 quid off for that as well? That'd be great.
Yeah, maybe not.
So actually, something I want to quickly point out whilst you're on the page, there's no pre-order reward.
Not from Samsung. There usually isn't. Interestingly, if you go for the Plus, it's not even a pre-order; it's a purchase. It's taking me through to a regular purchase, or is it?
Interesting.
Hang on, let's see. Oh no, it is a pre-order. Ships on the 23rd.
Few deals. Just have a quick look on Carphone Warehouse to see if they have anything.
Is it up yet? It feels a bit early.
Yeah, it was up a while ago. So yeah, scrolling through, they don't seem to have any. They don't have any pre-order rewards at the moment. Whether this will be something that maybe tomorrow we'll see a couple of companies do, but I doubt it.
I guess we'll find out. But I guess for context, the Note 9 came out at £849 when that first launched. So the Note 10 is only... Oh no, the Note 10 here is £869 as well. Interesting. So it's only £20 more than the Note 9 was when that first launched. How interesting. Maybe this conversion is wrong. So maybe where it says 899, that's what's wrong, as opposed to the price that comes up.
Maybe.
Reaper Knight said, there are a couple of companies like Verizon here in the US that have LTE USB sticks. Yeah, that's a thing here in the UK as well. Yeah. I just find that it's not as good a solution. Like, you want it to be built in, like, ideally.
The USB sticks are very inconvenient as well, and a hell of a lot easier to break. That's why a lot of people use the little hub things, but at which point that's something you've then got to connect to via Wi-Fi anyway.
And there was a point. There was a point where the LTE, like in a laptop, was becoming popular. Like, I remember a couple of years ago, actually maybe more than a couple, like 4 years ago, that they were just built. Like, a lot of laptops had built-in 4G, like built-in LTE, and then it like phased out again pretty rapidly. Portable. Yes, portable Wi-Fi. Reaper Knight. It's one of those things that like almost became a thing and then was slowly phased out again, and it's a bit of a shame because a laptop is the kind of device where you want to have LTE built in. Like,
I think because I remember it being more of a thing back in 3G days that it happening, but they did have with LTE some stuff start to come out, but I think just because it's more than the Wi-Fi version, people kind of ignore it. And there is Wi-Fi hotspots basically everywhere you go in countries like England. I presume it's the same with the US. However, if I go, like, I'm right by the countryside here. If I was able to walk 5 minutes down the road,
oof, big oof.
If I was able to walk 5 minutes down the road, then I would be in places where I don't have Wi-Fi, at which point having built-in LTE would be great. And what would be even better is if you can use that as a portable hotspot as well.
Yeah. And
especially as the device is on constantly, in the case of the HCX based laptops.
So I'm just checking pricing currently. I think Vodafone have screwed up their pricing a little. That being said, if I bring this up right now, so these are for contracts for the Note 10. This is just for Note 10, I believe. Yeah, the Note 10. So you can get either 20 gigabytes of data for £49 a month, or you can get unlimited data for £51 a month. So that's a thing.
Actually, I don't know about the speed.
This is 10 megabit per second.
Yeah, that's probably why.
So here's the thing: like directly below it is the 2 megabit per second version, which is £1 more per month. Like, that's the thing that gets me.
You know what really annoys me actually with pricing is the upgrade pricing. So yesterday I was looking at an S10 Plus with the where you can get the 512 gig version for the price of the 128 gig at EE. the exact same contract for monthly cost and data was upfront about £120 more by doing it as an upgrade. By being an existing customer, you have to pay £120 more. I just thought, like, what's the point of even doing an upgrade thing if it's just going to be more expensive anyway? It's just sounds stupid.
Interestingly, a 5G plan is £61 a month.
And though Vodafone annoy me with the 5G plans, because they, even on the 5G plans, they have the 2 megabit per second max speed, the 10 megabits,
Yeah, so this is the
which is
what's the regular
point
one.
of 5G at that point?
So those are only for unlimited plans. Those aren't for regular plans. So that's the difference. So
I think they do have them for regular plans, just maybe not on that, as far as I know.
No, I'm pretty
either
sure.
way, what's the point on 5G to have a speed limit of that kind?
Because you need to differentiate for like unlimited data. Like that's their thing. Yeah, looking through this, it's only the unlimited data ones that have speed limits.
Okay.
That's why. That's what that is basically. Because
Yeah.
when they announced it as you could get unlimited data SIM cards, and then they said the different price points are how fast you want it to be. So that's what they've used as their differentiator, which is fair enough. And in this case, like 20 gigabytes is probably plenty for most people anyway.
Yeah. Though I still stick by the point of why would you spend extra to get a 5G plan and then it not be any faster anyway. On my Sprint website, for me, I can see the book S, but when I click it, I can't get to the web page. The page crashes. Maybe it shouldn't be on the site for some reason. I don't know exactly.
Yeah,
maybe it's just getting that much traffic.
Just for context, real quick, the P30 Pro, I've just double checked, launched at $899. So the regular Note 10 comes in at cheaper than the P30 Pro.
Yeah. But objectively, if it wasn't for EMUI, P30 Pro is a better camera. Between the Huawei issues, ignoring that, I just don't like EMUI. Whereas I do like
Samsung Experience.
Yeah, is it? No, it's
that's what it's called. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called.
No, it's One something, isn't it?
Oh yeah, they renamed it, didn't they? One UI.
One UI, that's the one. Yeah, the Samsung Experience was. Yeah, that was for Android 8.
Yeah.
Which I still think Android Experience was just like Samsung Experience was just terrible.
Well, they need
to
get away from TouchWiz, which they did, and then they need to get rid of whatever their previous one was. I think One UI might be the name they end up sticking with for a couple years.
Yeah, I think so. I think, and also as a system, One UI is actually good. And that's part of the reason why the Note 10 and the S10 Plus do resonate with me as good choices. Though I'm still looking maybe at the OnePlus 7 Pro, but I've never actually used a OnePlus phone, so I don't know how it's set up. No. I mean, I've held one, but I've never used one.
My OnePlus One is in pieces, or else I'd offer it to you. Man,
Yeah,
I love that phone so much.
Really? You broke it enough?
I broke it once. Once.
The show.
Yeah, oh my god, that was hilarious.
I'm still so glad I filmed that.
So am I, to be completely honest with you.
Oh, that was amazing. Oh.
Right, I guess at this point we're going to more or less wrap it up. So if you have any last questions, anyone in chat, now's the time to ask them. We'll stick around for another few minutes. I think, as someone who personally, just going back onto the Book S, as someone who personally has been like minimizing my like computer on the go, whilst maximizing my home PC, the Book S strikes me as a great deal, like as a great idea, like a great upgrade.
Yes.
Because it has the power of an i5, which is great for when you need the power, and it's also ridiculously thin. And it only comes in at like £100 more than the HP Chromebook I have.
Yeah.
It's a great deal, and I think that considering what I use laptop computers for currently, which is if I'm on the go, I want it for writing and note taking, and not gaming because I have a Switch for that, and not content creation because that's what my PC's for. Like using it for just work, for just writing, it is perfect, and you can doodle on it, and you have Android games.
Yeah, I of course I have the Tab S5e, so for me, just wandering around the house, consuming YouTube, Netflix, etc. This does a lot of the things I need it to do. If I'm on the go and I want to play little Android games, then I can. I think the ideal thing for me would be, of course, having a Nintendo Switch would be great for games on the go, and then that Book S with having that kind of ridiculous battery as well means that I don't need to worry if I've charged it up before I go and things like that.
Yeah.
And that at which point is such a thin, light, just I presume light device
Yeah,
as well.
it's less than a kilo.
Yeah, in which case it's
And
perfect.
that's a massive deal because, of course, the LG gram. That's why it's called the gram because it's less than a kilogram. In theory, they're not
It's
anymore.
no longer that either.
They used to be, but it is like one
Yeah.
of the lightest laptops you'll be able to get right now.
Yeah, and if you need the proper keyboard, then I think that's brilliant for you. If you're like me and don't do massive amounts of typing on your tablet, then going for the tablet over the Book S would,
Yeah, I think the Tab
probably be the
S6
best
makes
choice
for a
too.
better media consumption experience.
Yes,
Whereas the
being able to throw it around and all that's useful as well.
yeah. So Paul, S10 Plus, Note 10, which one in your opinion is better? And are you going to get either of them?
So first, the Note 10, because the pen makes no sense for me, I wouldn't even consider getting the Note 10. It just doesn't make sense to take the drop-in battery and things like that. So it becomes an argument of S10 Plus versus Note 10 Plus. If money wasn't an issue, then Note 10 Plus. Having the bigger display, I think slightly bigger battery, and the faster charging, that all makes sense to me. However, having said that, I think the S10 Plus, partially because it's been out a bit longer, so the prices have been able to drop, but also even then it was cheaper at launch anyway. I'm slightly tempted to call up EE tomorrow and be like, "Wait, what deal can you give me on the S10 Plus?" It's going to have just as much power for most tasks. The 12 gig of RAM is just crazy for most people. I honestly don't know how you'd use that sensibly on a mobile phone. Tablet, even then I can't really see it, but can slightly more easily see. I think S10 Plus.
And I guess just really quickly, so people are aware, I'm currently looking on Amazon. The S10 Plus dual SIM variant with 128 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of RAM currently costs £709. So that's £290 cheaper. And so
about the 512 gig to go more like for like, I guess.
I think that's the fairer comparison. So like hang on, that's the regular S10, that's not the Plus. One second. The S10 Plus is 128.
Which ecosystem is better, Apple or Galaxy? Personally, I would never go over to the Apple ecosystem unless I was given it for free, practically. But that's because I don't like iOS and macOS as my main things. I could probably get used to them a little bit, but I would never want to. I prefer Android and Windows, so there is that upside. But as a linking to each other thing. Apple, I think they're probably doing it better, but that's partially because they've been doing it for a few years now. I do think Apple's ecosystem of connecting and syncing between devices is very, very good.
Couple of things.
Yeah.
The S10 Plus. What's the name I'm looking for? The S10 Plus 512. I can't find on Amazon, and according to Car Phone Warehouse, you just like if you pay for one, you get the other one. Is how that works currently.
Yeah.
According to this, if you get if you pick the S10 Plus with the 512 capacity, that's just the same price, which is £900.
Yeah.
So that only works in at £100 cheaper. So I guess you decide like, is that £100 worth it to you? Between the S10 Plus and the Note 10 Plus. On the subject of ecosystems, I'm going to be controversial here. I'm going to say the ecosystem as a whole is better on Apple. However, each individual part of that ecosystem is better on Galaxy. Like I'd argue that like if you could only buy everything as a group, then Apple. However, you have the option of buying a Samsung phone and an LG watch and whatever laptop, and they'll still all work together in a more or less the same way.
And that's the thing. If there is a weak link in the ecosystem, Apple, you still have to go for it. And that's part of the reason why their business model works so well for them. Because even if you don't like a device, you kind of have to go for it anyway. Whereas with Android, Windows ecosystems, yes, it might not link in quite so well, but it will still link in if you decide to replace one broken link in the chain.
And that's what I love the most about using Android and Windows. Like, I can decide which device is best for my needs. If I want a phone with a ridiculous camera, I can go for a P30 Pro. If I only have £100 to spend, you get one of those Moto, I forget what, the Moto E7, whatever number they're on now, E6.
Yeah.
So you have the full range, whereas with Apple, you have to get the expensive stuff. And it's all expensive. Like, the HomePod only supports Siri. The HomePod doesn't even have Spotify support. Like, that's the level of closed in the HomePod is. And it uses Siri, so it doesn't really understand what you're saying half the time either anyway.
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier on, I'm quite interested in like single ecosystem stuff and companies that have it all, basically. And on the Android side of things, there isn't many companies that really do it quite like Samsung actually can do it now, because LG, the LG Gram is a great device, but their phones massively lacking and they don't have tablets. Razer don't do tablets. They do great laptops and decent phones, but not as amazing as the Book S looks. Of course, Samsung do great tablets and they do great phones. If you don't want to spend the really high price of the S6, Tab S6, you've got the S5e to drop to. If you don't want to spend the really high price of the Note 10 or the S10, you do have quite a decent A80 and the other phones in the A lineup, which parts of like Apple does have the cheaper iPads. They don't really have cheaper iPhones.
Yeah, especially when the iPhone XR was like the cheap iPhone and it came in at £750.
Yes, whereas Samsung have phones from, is it like £150, £200 upwards? I mean, someone that's going to spend £500-600 on a tablet is unlikely to go £200 on a phone. But having the £400-500 options for phones is also, I think, quite, even if you're not necessarily going to go for it, is a nice option to have.
And just looking at it, right now, the cheapest Samsung phone on Car Phone Warehouse is the Samsung Galaxy A10, which is £115. The cheapest Samsung phone I would recommend, however, is the Galaxy A50, which is £300.
Yeah, and that is quite a good phone. There for £350, I wouldn't choose that phone necessarily. I think there's definitely better options at the same price point, but it doesn't detract from the fact it is still a good phone.
Yeah, and then at 320 is the A70. I'd actually suggest the A70 over the A50. But the A70 has like a triple camera setup on the back and 128 gigabytes of storage and an AMOLED display and a under-screen fingerprint sensor. Like, if you were to just look at this and the S10 side by side, like physically, you'd be like, oh, these are basically the same.
I prefer the look of the A80 with the flipping camera. And all that.
Oh yeah, the A80 camera is unreal.
Yeah, I prefer that over the S10 Plus and with the having it in the display. And so if the Galaxy had the same time as Apple, Galaxy would probably be. I think they certainly would have the chance if they had the same time and put the same focus into it as Apple do. Then I think so. But I don't think Samsung ever would do it quite so much. Part of the thing with Apple is they, of course, any company want you to buy as much of their products as anyone else. But Apple put a lot of focus into making sure, one, you wouldn't want to, but mainly that you couldn't really switch to other systems. And because the fact that they're the only people that are allowed to use iOS, they can do that. Samsung can't really do that as easily. And if they became too tight on their ecosystem and who can use what, people are more likely to leave. Apple have more of a grasp.
A great example of this is the Apple Watch. Like, it's a pretty periphery device. Like, it's not exactly like, it's not something that you invest in the Apple ecosystem for. But it's one of those things where if you decide that you're leaving Apple, it's just another thing you have to buy. Like, when you if you own an Apple Watch and you're like, okay, cool, I'm going to get this Android phone, you then go, oh, wait a second, now my watch doesn't work on my new Android phone. I guess I'm going to buy, and then you have to like look into buying a watch, and it's just like an extra point of friction. Whereas if I had like the P30 Pro and I decided, actually, I want the Note 10 Plus, I switch phones, I click new device on my watch, and it connects up like nothing ever happened, and it's fine and dandy. That isn't an option with the Apple Watch. You have to stay within Apple. And so what Apple have done really well is they've added these little points of friction. With the HomePod, again, being one of those things which, if you like happen to buy one, again, they're not cheap. They're like £300. And so you've bought this HomePod, which is effectively an overglorified speaker. But if you don't have an iPhone, you all of a sudden have no way of controlling it. So if you decide, I want a Samsung phone, then you now have to buy a new smart speaker as well as the phone. And they've done a really great job of finding those little bits and pieces and having this walled garden, which from the inside looks great. But the moment you try to escape, you go, actually, I have no flexibility with my own devices for like mixing and matching.
Yeah, and even though things are cheaper on the other side, or can be cheaper on the other side, when you have to replace an entire ecosystem in one go, yeah, that's a very expensive thing to do. And I'm not a big fan of Apple. I'm not a big fan of iOS, though. But the thing is, their products are good, and as a business, they've done very well at making money, even if some of their practices, I don't also massively like. That's going to be me here soon. What with the Apple?
I think they mean. Oh,
okay. On the
S10
same
Plus.
Yeah,
interesting. Not the Note.
The 1 terabyte parts. Yeah, I wouldn't, but I
Yeah,
don't know
fair.
what you decide to store. I actually, side note, I do like. So this has only got 128 gig of storage built in. However, part of the pre-order reward for it was a 512 gig micro SD card from Samsung themselves, and it is actually really nice being able to have basically most of my Plex library. I don't have any of my movies on there, but the TV shows, etc., and animes, I basically have all of them on there in 720p, 1080p, and it is great having them all on there and know that if the internet ever goes out and I am in the kitchen, so I'm not actually at my PC, or if like my servers ever for some reason I can't connect to that, I can watch it all from there. But more importantly, if I'm ever going to go out of the house, I never have to worry about downloading things to my thing. So having 1 terabyte of storage on my phone wouldn't be so bad.
Do you want to know a secret? You just don't ever leave the house. That's all you have to do.
It's optimism. But one day I might eventually be able to get out.
Oh man, you know what, Paul? I always love talking to you. It's always such a pleasure. Thank you so much for
Really?
joining me. Yeah, because you're the only one who will ever like ramble with me for 2.5 hours, as we have been live as of just now. Reaper's music library alone is 300 gigabytes apparently. Just delete some things off your Spotify playlist. Like honestly, have you heard of streaming? Like, come on.
Yeah, what is the music? Is this like really high?
Yeah, unless it's flat, it's all
quality?
FLAC, which
Yeah,
is on a phone especially. Like,
that
come on.
that's an entirely different conversation.
Yeah. Or you have like a bajillion songs, which you should just don't
At which point
download.
it'd be quicker to download them.
Yeah, it's a lot of FLAC Japanese music.
Well then, yeah, no, I have all my things on Spotify, so even with hundreds of songs downloaded, even thousands of songs, I couldn't use anywhere near what I'd have. So I having the 512 gig upgrade for free with Carphone Warehouse at the moment, that will be quite a nice upgrade to have. And it will certainly mean that I never worry about storage space. But I've got 64 gig on my phone at the moment, and I don't particularly worry about that anyway, especially every now and then go on Google Drive, automatically backs up all my photos, and then getting it to just clean my phone. Never came close to that. However, if I were to vlog more, which maybe one day will happen, in which case that could come in use for a bit more. Yeah, it's probably unlikely to happen.
I feel like every time
actually, the vlogging part's fine. It's the editing part that's the issue.
I feel like every time we have a conversation about any tech whatsoever, like we'll talk about like the practicality of you getting this tech, and then you'll go, "But if I vlogged more," and in my head I'm like, "That's never gonna. Why do you even consider that as a possibility? Like it's just not gonna happen."
I'm an optimist, okay?
That boat sailed a very long time ago. You're not going to vlog more, Stubbers.
No, the vlogging part isn't so much the issue, it's the editing part. I used to like when we used to go to events, I used to be fine with vlogging and vlogging the entire thing and getting enough footage for a decent vlog. It was the editing part. It was when I came 3 months down the road and realized I've still not edited it. There's no point uploading now.
So on that note, and amongst
Note 10 or Note 10 Plus?
And amongst the pile of unedited videos that I'm sure sit on Stubbers' hard drive, just sat there being like, "Edit me, Stubbers, edit me, please." Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to everyone who popped in. I'm just looking at the statistics currently on YouTube, and apparently we had 188 people pop in, and there are 5 people here right now. So if you're watching, I see you. I know you're here. You can't hide from me. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Thank you to everyone who asked questions, and thank you mostly to Reaper Knight 86 for keeping us on our toes.
Yes. Thank you everyone that has dropped by, left messages. Reaper Knight especially. you've been here and chatting a lot and keeping us company.
I think
because we hate each other's company, so we needed someone else here.
Really quickly, I think our next event most likely will be the Apple event because that comes in September, so that's about a month away. So if you also, actually, really important side note, we're a lot more critical of Apple than we are of almost any other company.
Yeah.
So
the Apple event is more of a event to just shit on Apple.
So
it's not about what they're bringing out; it's about how much we hate what they're bringing out.
It's all about the courage it takes to remove the headphone jack. But yeah, if you want to watch like a couple hours of me and Paul taking the piss out of Apple, that's the way to do it. So do make sure to follow. Thank you, Reaper, for following. September, this is the place to be. It's just this is the kind of thing where it's fun to just like sit with people you like chatting with and just discuss new products as they're announced. So whenever there's like a major unveiling, we tend to live stream those. And you get stuff like this. So thank you to everyone who joined. Stubbers, quick, pimp all your stuff.
Okay, if for some reason you found me entertaining and want to hear me ramble on a bit more, if you follow me on Twitter at Paul Stubbers and my Twitch as well, I'll just put a waving emote in chat. Follow me here on that. I misspelled that. Damn it. Follow me here on Twitch, just a wild Stubbers, and every now and then I do stream, but that is mainly every other month. That's basically my stream schedule at the moment. But yeah, follow me on there. At Paul Stubbers Twitter to say yeah.
Hang on, wait for it.
Yeah.
Oopsies.
At some point you switch back here.
That failed.
Hey, you tapped it up there.
Yeah, there you go.
Follow me on the cool things.
Do it. Go there.
And yeah, that'd be cool.
I really hope I spelled that right.
Yes. Though the lack of capitalization slightly irks me, but
well, that's a you problem.
Yeah, I have a lot of me problems. I am used to it.
I tried to fix the capitalization for you and I've now screwed it up. So it's your own fault. Oopsies. God damn it, what's happening?
No, that sounds like a you problem.
Let's give it an outline in black so you can actually see it. And then...
all to dibs.
There you go. Go follow him. He's like all right, I guess.
Occasionally I tweet.
Thank you to Human for being here as well. Thank you to Inspiring Psych for turning up and guessing battery life and getting closer than I'm sure he expected. He guessed 36 hours, which is closer than Paul's guess of 10 hours. So you know what? Great work.
I mean, technically, it's right down the middle.
Yeah, it's not right down the middle.
Well, yeah, 13 hours each way.
That's video playback, though, not like general battery life. So
yeah, but we was guessing the 23 hours, so...
Right. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Or, like, it's evening for us, as you can tell by the darkness outside. It's 11 p.m, so we're going to be quiet.
No, this is actually a window into my soul. It is not outside.
Can confirm. Yeah. Right. Have a great evening, everyone. See you all later. Bye.